You know how you can walk through a museum and see these incredible ancient objects, right? An Egyptian carving, maybe a Mayan artifact, a delicate scroll from somewhere far off.
Hmm.
They seem so different, locked in their own time and place. But what if those aren't separate stories? What if they're pieces of a much bigger, much older puzzle that we're only just starting to glimpse?
That's a powerful way to frame it. For a long time, these relics have hinted at a possible shared history, maybe a connection to a prehistoric civilization, the legendary Atlantis.
Atlantis, right.
And the core idea is that this civilization had, well, guardians of knowledge, who preserved crucial wisdom in 7 manuscripts before some kind of cataclysmic event.
And get this. Back in 2018, something really intriguing happened off the coast of Alexandria. Underwater archaeologists found this sealed stone chamber with a metal plate inside. Now, the symbols on this plate weren't just typical hieroglyphs. They had striking similarities to ancient markings found in South America, in Egypt, and even India. The initial thought, almost unbelievable, was, could this be a fragment, a clue left behind by these Atlantean guardians?
It's a compelling discovery, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider what initial interpretations of, potential fragments like that suggest.
Yeah.
The idea that these manuscripts describe 7 distinct cycles of human civilization, with the first 5 aligning surprisingly well with what we know of our history, that's already quite something.
But here's where it gets really intriguing. The prophecy for the 6th cycle, the one we're apparently in right now, paints this vivid picture. The earth trembles, the sky changes color, waters rise, and as the old order collapses, humanity will face the same choice as the guardians. Talk about a forecast for our times.
It is a potent image, definitely. And it's this prophecy, this potential turning point, that's really at the heart of our discussion today.
So what's the plan?
We're going to try and trace the theoretical journey of these 7 Atlantean guardians, delve into the knowledge and prophecies within their, well, supposedly lost manuscripts, and consider what this ancient wisdom might mean for us right now, and maybe why these ideas seem to be gaining more traction lately.
Okay, let's start with Atlantis itself. We all know the story from Plato's dialogues, this advanced island civilization, beyond the Pillars of Hercules,
Right.
that supposedly vanished beneath the waves. Divine punishment, the story goes. Mainstream archaeology has mostly considered it an allegory, right?
That's definitely been the dominant view. But what's fascinating is the growing body of archaeological evidence that seems to, well, challenge this purely allegorical interpretation.
Like what?
Sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, the underground temples of Malta, Teotihuacan, and Central America, they show a level of sophistication, especially in their mathematical and astronomical knowledge, dating way back, like 9,000 to 5,000 BCE.
That's way earlier than we usually think of civilization starting.
Significantly earlier, yeah, than our conventional timeline for the beginnings of complex civilizations.
Exactly, and what's so interesting is that these sites, spread across continents, have some really surprising cultural similarities, this understanding of astronomy, advanced building techniques that don't quite fit with how we thought people moved around back then.
Precisely. And this has led researchers like Dr. Claude Yarden to propose that maybe we need to rethink our understanding of where civilization originated.
A different starting point.
His idea is that these ancient sites, sharing this common base of knowledge, could point to a much older mother civilization, perhaps survivors of a major catastrophe, maybe the one Plato described, then spread out, taking their advanced knowledge with them.
Okay, so if a civilization like Atlantis existed, the next question is about these knowledge guardians. This idea of 7 masters tasked with preserving crucial knowledge before a great cosmic change that's said to come from Egyptian temple records, isn't it? From Heliopolis.
That's the claim, yes. These purported Heliopolis temple records describe 7 masters from a land of wisdom who were entrusted with safeguarding 7 key areas of knowledge.
And then they split up.
Exactly. Each guardian then supposedly journeyed to a different region, carrying their specific part of this wisdom.
And these weren't just random subjects. We're talking about cosmology and astronomy, understanding celestial movements, geometry and architecture, focusing on sacred proportions, energy building principles, medicine and life sciences, understanding life energy, healing, acoustics and vibration, the power of sound, frequency,
Quite a list.
agriculture and natural science for living in harmony with nature, social organization and governance, covering ideal societal structures, and finally, consciousness and spiritual science, the deepest understanding of our own consciousness. It's a pretty comprehensive plan.
It is. Absolutely. And what's fascinating is that this concept of dispersed knowledge isn't unique to just the Atlantis story. We see echoes of it in various ancient cultures.
Like where?
Well, consider the Sumerian epic of Enki and the World Order. The god Enki distributes the sacred Imi.
The Imi.
Yeah, the fundamental principles of civilization, basically. He distributes them to 7 different cities before the Great Flood.
Huh. That's a really interesting parallel. And there are others, too.
Absolutely. In Indian tradition, you have the Saptarishi, the 7 ancient sages who are said to have preserved Vedic wisdom through periods of cosmic upheaval.
Right, the 7 sages.
And even in Irish Celtic mythology, the Tuatha De Danann, who arrive from a sunken land, bring with them 4 magical artifacts. You could interpret that as a cultural memory of something similar knowledge and power brought from a lost, advanced place.
So these manuscripts, if they existed, weren't just ordinary books. They supposedly used symbolic language, multi-layered interpretation systems, almost like they were coded.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
This layered approach would have acted as a safeguard, ensuring the knowledge wasn't misused by those who weren't ready for it.
Makes sense.
And the reported physical forms of these manuscripts are equally intriguing. They range from the, maybe familiar emerald tablets, to metal scrolls made of special enduring alloys, to crystal encoding devices, essentially ancient high-tech data storage.
Oh.
And even the truly mind-bending concept of living gene banks. Plants or organisms genetically modified to carry encoded information.
Living gene banks. That really makes you think about their understanding of biology. Just, wow. And we hear that these manuscripts weren't entirely lost to history. There were brief periods where parts of them resurfaced, involving figures like Solomon, Alexander the Great, Sargon of Akkad.
The lore certainly suggests that these influential historical figures at different times managed to gather and study fragments of these manuscripts.
And what happened then?
Well, each of these periods of reunification is often linked to significant advancements in civilization, but unfortunately often followed by periods of conflict and loss, perhaps suggesting the knowledge wasn't fully understood or its power wasn't used wisely.
It makes you consider the responsibility that comes with such advanced knowledge, doesn't it? Now, Dr. Manfred Bourne's perspective is quite interesting. He sees these manuscripts not just as historical records or prophecies, but as a kind of civilization restart protocol.
A restart protocol?
Yeah, like a guide for humanity to rebuild and learn from the past, especially when facing existential threats.
That's a fascinating way to look at it. It reframes these lost texts as a form of long-term insurance for the survival and maybe evolution of human civilization, providing foundational wisdom at critical junctures.
Okay, let's delve into the content then, starting with the first manuscript. This one is believed to have been taken to ancient Egypt, integrated into their already impressive astronomical system.
Right.
It supposedly contains precise calculations of cosmic cycles, Earth's orbit, solar activity, even pulses from the galactic center.
That's the claim, yeah. And the evidence often cited points to the remarkable astronomical knowledge we see in ancient Egyptian artifacts, like the Dendera zodiac.
Ah, yes, the Dendera ceiling. Beautiful.
It's incredibly intricate. It demonstrates their understanding of complex celestial movements, including the precession of the equinoxes, that slow wobble in the Earth axis that takes about, 25,920 years to complete?
Which is incredibly sophisticated for that time. It's amazing. And this first manuscript also lays out a prophecy of 7 major cosmic cycles, each around 5,125 years long, forming one grand cycle. The really striking part is that we're believed to be at the end of the 6th cycle now, poised to enter the 7th, which is described as the Great Awakening.
Precisely. And the crucial prophecy linked to this transition is this idea of the gates of the sky opening.
Meaning what exactly?
Well, the notion is that during this period, our current time, humanity would receive new information, new insights from the cosmos itself. It's certainly intriguing to consider this in light of things like unexplained signals received by projects like SETI.
Right.
And just the ongoing stream of new and often surprising astronomical discoveries we're making constantly.
It definitely makes you wonder if we're on the verge of some major shift in how we see the universe. Okay, now, the second manuscript supposedly traveled to South America, influencing early Andean civilizations. This one focuses on sacred geometry and architecture, the laws of energy flow, and how to build structures that actually enhance specific energy frequencies.
And you look at the architectural marvels of ancient South America, from Cusco to Chichen Itza, they do exhibit this remarkable understanding of Earth's magnetic lines, acoustic properties, astronomical alignments.
They're precisely aligned, aren't they?
Incredibly so. The theory suggests these weren't just buildings, they were designed as massive energy amplifiers capable of harnessing and transforming both terrestrial and cosmic energies.
Almost like ancient power plants, but operating on completely different principles, and the prophecy tied to this manuscript.
It's the rediscovery of these principles, leading to new energy technologies that bypass combustion and nuclear power. And you look at the current buzz around zero-point energy, advancements in quantum field theory, which looks at the underlying energy fabric of reality and the development of renewable energy sources. It certainly seems to align with this idea.
It does resonate, yeah.
And perhaps one of the most startling connections is the reported discovery of geometric patterns from this manuscript actually appearing in modern quantum field visualization experiments.
Seriously?
These quantum holographic patterns, as they're called, bear an uncanny resemblance to the sacred geometry patterns found in ancient sites, suggesting a fundamental link between the very fabric of reality and these ancient architectural principles.
That's a truly mind-bending connection to think about. Let's move on to the third manuscript, which reportedly went to ancient India. This one deals with life sciences and medicine, covering the human energy system, our genetic code, and the fascinating interplay between consciousness and the physical body.
Well, the ancient Indian traditions of the chakra system, meridian theory, the concept of prana, the vital life force in Ayurveda, these are all potential legacies of this manuscript.
Makes sense. The systems are incredibly detailed.
Absolutely. And the idea that it contained healing methods using specific sound frequencies and light wavelengths is particularly interesting, especially given the modern resurgence of research in quantum medicine and the therapeutic potential of sound and light.
It's almost as if ancient wisdom anticipated some of our most cutting-edge scientific explorations. And the prophecy here.
The realization that the body is essentially condensed light, which will lead to light-based medical technologies.
Condensed light.
And we're already seeing movement in this direction with biophoton research, the study of light in biological systems, various forms of energy medicine, and even advancements in gene editing that manipulate biological processes at such a fundamental level.
Right, like CRISPR and things like that.
Precisely. And the manuscript also carries a rather somber prophecy for the end of the sixth cycle. Invisible enemies will attack the breath of life, forcing humanity to shift from treating symptoms to a more holistic approach to health. This certainly resonates with our recent global health challenges and the increasing interest in holistic and preventative medicine.
It's quite striking how some of these ancient predictions seem to mirror contemporary events. Now, the fourth manuscript supposedly traveled to Tibet and China, focusing on the power of sound, vibration, and frequency in shaping reality itself.
You look at East Asian traditions, from Tibetan Buddhist chanting rituals to the intricate theories behind ancient Chinese music. They demonstrate a deep understanding of sound's impact on both consciousness and the physical world.
Like the tonal chanting.
Exactly. The unique Tibetan chanting technique that produces multiple harmonic tones simultaneously is even speculated to have its origins in this very manuscript.
That multi-tonal chanting is truly captivating, isn't it? And the prophecy associated with this manuscript.
It's that humanity will come to understand sound as more than just a way to communicate. It's a fundamental tool for altering matter and consciousness.
Altering matter.
Yeah. And the rise of modern sonics, audio neuromodulation techniques that affect brain waves through sound, and the field of quantum acoustics. They all point to a growing scientific appreciation for the power of vibration.
So it's not just woo-woo stuff anymore.
Increasingly less so. And the concept of an age of universal resonance, where communication and energy technologies are based on these principles, is particularly noteworthy.
Universal resonance.
When you consider modern physics, with quantum field theory, string theory, holographic universe models, all suggesting that vibration is a fundamental aspect of reality. This ancient prophecy takes on a whole new level of significance.
It really makes you think about the underlying interconnectedness of everything.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're finding this deep dive into ancient wisdom and lost knowledge fascinating, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more explorations into the mysteries of our past and their relevance to our present.
Definitely do that. Now let's move on to the fifth manuscript, which is believed to have found its way to the Celtic regions, so Britain and Ireland.
Okay.
This one focuses on living in harmony with nature and developing regenerative agricultural systems.
Ah, the Celts in nature. The ancient stone circles and the mysterious landscape patterns found across Britain and Ireland certainly hint at a deep connection to Earth's energy and natural cycles. And the figure of the green man in folklore and various nature worship traditions could also be echoes of this manuscript's teachings, maybe.
That's a strong possibility, yes. And the prophecy associated with this manuscript speaks of a time when humanity will face severe climate imbalance and ecological crises,
Sounds familiar.
forcing a return to more harmonious ways of living with nature. The specific mention that the life of the soil will be weakened is particularly striking given our current concerns about soil degradation.
It's almost prophetic in its accuracy, sadly. And what's really surprising is the description of an agricultural system based on forest thinking. What does that mean?
Well, it sounds remarkably similar to the modern principles of permaculture, food forests, and regenerative agriculture, emphasizing biodiversity, symbiotic relationships, natural cycles.
So ancient permaculture.
Pretty much. It highlights the fact that sustainable practices aren't necessarily a modern invention, but maybe a rediscovery of ancient wisdom.
Fascinating. Okay, manuscript 6.
This one is thought to have traveled to ancient Greece and the Middle East, focusing on ideal social structures, just governance, and how human groups can best organize themselves.
Right. Ancient Greek philosophy, with thinkers like Plato and Aristotle, certainly delved deeply into questions of ideal societies and governance.
They absolutely did. And the wisdom traditions of the Middle East, like Sufism, often explore the balance between the individual and the collective well-being.
So what's the prophecy here?
This manuscript prophesies a progression through 7 stages of social organization, starting from tribal systems, moving through empires, nation-states, and ultimately towards a new form called networked consciousness.
Networked consciousness, like the internet.
Kind of, but potentially deeper. Think of it as a shift from hierarchical structures to more interconnected, collaborative ways of organizing, where information and influence flow more horizontally. The prophecy for the end of the 6th cycle speaks of great confusion of power and truth, a breaking down of old social contracts,
Definitely feels relevant.
and the emergence of new forms of organization from the resulting chaos.
That certainly feels like our current times, doesn't it? With the rise of digital networks, blockchain, DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, and all the debates about global citizenship, it's like we're witnessing the early stages of this networked consciousness taking shape.
It's a compelling parallel to observe, absolutely. Finally, we come to the 7th manuscript. This one is said to have been guarded by the most advanced of the 7, who journeyed to the Himalayas.
The Himalayas. Okay.
This one contains the most esoteric knowledge about the nature of consciousness, multidimensional reality, and spiritual evolution.
So the deepest stuff. This manuscript is described as the key to all the others, needing a certain level of collective consciousness to be fully understood.
That's the idea. Almost like the other 6 provide the foundation, and this one unlocks the deeper meaning.
And it prophesies stages of consciousness.
7 developmental stages, yes, culminating in what's called cosmic consciousness. Imagine a state of awareness where the boundaries between your individual consciousness and the larger universe become more permeable, leading to a sense of profound interconnectedness and understanding.
Wow.
The specific prophecy for our current transition is a leap in consciousness, a growing recognition of the creative power of our thoughts and the existence of a collective consciousness field.
We're seeing a lot of fascinating research in these areas today, aren't we? Modern neuroscience, theories of quantum consciousness, studies on non-local consciousness, and even projects like the Global Consciousness Project, which has actually recorded measurable collective responses during major global events. They all seem to be hinting at the very concepts described in this ancient manuscript.
They really do. And when you consider all 7 manuscripts together, they paint this remarkable picture of the great transformation that humanity is potentially on the cusp of.
What does that entail?
Well, it includes a shift from a scarcity-based material worldview to one based on the abundance of energy and information, an expansion of consciousness towards greater connection, a fusion of technology and spirituality,
Understand.
a move from hierarchical social structures to more networked ones, and a fundamental shift in our relationship with both the Earth and the cosmos, recognizing them as living, interconnected systems.
It sounds like a profound shift in perspective across the board, but the manuscripts also warn of accompanying chaos, right? A purifying fire.
Exactly, but also an unprecedented opportunity for rebirth. And perhaps the most thought-provoking prophecy of all might be, when 7 becomes 1, wholeness returns, humanity will remember who they are.
7 becomes 1.
It suggests that the reintegration of these 7 knowledge domains, breaking down our current fragmented way of seeing the world is key to unlocking a more complete understanding of ourselves and our place in the universe.
So the key insight here is that the ancients saw knowledge as interconnected, a holistic system, not the siloed disciplines we often have today.
Precisely. And maybe solving our current challenges requires a similar interdisciplinary, integrated approach.
So if these ancient insights are indeed resurfacing now, we're starting to see echoes of these 7 knowledge domains in our modern world, aren't we?
Absolutely. In cosmology, we have theories challenging the standard Big Bang model, proposing a more dynamic, maybe electromagnetic, interconnected universe.
Right.
In sacred geometry, researchers are rediscovering its applications in new energy technologies, resonance fields, zero-point energy. Holistic medicine is increasingly viewing the body as a system of light and energy.
Biophotonics, yeah.
Sound science is exploring things like acoustic levitation and sonic healing. Regenerative design is mimicking natural systems for sustainability, permaculture, biomimicry. We're experimenting with distributed governance through blockchain and other technologies. And consciousness technology is pushing the boundaries of our understanding of the mind-brain-computer interfaces, quantum consciousness research.
It's like all these different fields are converging, rediscovering pieces of this ancient wisdom in their own way. The emergence of interdisciplinary fields like neurotheology or quantum biology really speaks to this reintegration of knowledge.
It really does. And the wisdom contained within these manuscripts, even in the fragments or interpretations we have, offer some really practical insights for personal growth too.
Like what kind of insights?
Well, things like cultivating awareness of our own energetic state, vibrational awareness, developing both analytical and intuitive thinking, integrated cognition, designing our lives in alignment with natural principles, regenerative life design, using the power of coherence, maybe through intention or focus, to achieve our goals.
Okay.
Understanding the importance of cycles in nature in our lives, fostering network thinking, seeing connections, and engaging in practices that expand our consciousness, like meditation, sound work, visualization.
So it's not just about understanding ancient history, it's about applying this wisdom to our own lives and becoming active participants in this potential great transformation.
Precisely. But, and this is important, it's also crucial to approach this with a sense of responsibility and awareness of the challenges involved in decoding such ancient and symbolic knowledge.
What are the pitfalls?
We need to avoid overly literal interpretations, promote integration rather than division. This shouldn't become some kind of elitist knowledge. Balance ancient wisdom with modern science, validate where possible. Focus on practical application and sharing, not just hoarding information. And respect the appropriate timing. Some knowledge might need a certain context to be understood properly. As Dr. Sarah White wisely cautions, it's about finding a balanced and integrative approach, not creating new forms of dogma or division.
It's a delicate balance, isn't it? Finding the wisdom without getting lost in dogma. So as we reach the end of our deep dive today, it's clear that these Atlantean prophecies, whether you take them as literal history or profound allegories, offer a powerful lens for understanding the current global shifts we're experiencing. Perhaps it's not just a crisis, but as the manuscripts seem to suggest, an evolutionary opportunity, a chance to reconnect with a deeper wisdom and our own potential. It seems like a timeless message, focusing on holistic understanding rather than just fragments.
Indeed. The recurring message seems to be that our capabilities extend far beyond our current, often limited understanding of ourselves. As the manuscripts supposedly put it so poetically, humans are not isolated organisms, but expressions of cosmic consciousness.
Wow.
Not guests walking on Earth, but organs of Earth's self-awareness. Not observers of the universe, but how the universe observes itself.
That's quite a perspective shift. It makes you wonder if the true legacy of Atlantis isn't a sunken landmass, but maybe a state of interconnected consciousness, where energy and information are the fundamental building blocks, and consciousness itself is the creative force. And maybe the 7 guardians aren't just figures from the past, but aspects of our own inner wisdom waiting to be rediscovered and integrated.
That's a powerful thought to hold. And the resurfacing of these ideas, in whatever form, feels like an invitation to actively participate in creating a more conscious, harmonious world.
Right, it's not about passively waiting for some predetermined future.
Exactly, but about recognizing the potential within us and within the collective right now.
And it feels like it's happening, doesn't it? Across so many different fields, people are working towards a more holistic and conscious way of being. It feels like this new network of understanding and creation is actually taking shape.
It does feel that way sometimes.
So we encourage you, our listener, to consider how you can become a carrier and an expresser of this integrated knowledge in your own unique way. Because as one of the prophecies states, when enough people remember the truth, the critical point will be reached and a new world will rise from the ashes of the old.
Share this information if it resonates, join the conversation, and definitely subscribe for more deep dives into ancient wisdom and its relevance for today.
Yeah, please do.
Because in this age of, well, constant information overload, perhaps the most valuable knowledge is that which has been forgotten, the kind of eternal wisdom that might has guided humanity through previous cycles and is now resurfacing to help us navigate the next.
Because as the Atlantean guardians themselves are said to have wisely observed, the end is the beginning, but at a higher level.